PS5 is pushing Xbox off the market. I repeat, the PS5 is pushing Xbox off the market.
Build a digital library anymore. I know Sony does that perfect image. I know. But the biggest difference between, I would say, Sony's approach and Microsoft's is Microsoft bet everything on it.
Who let this pony out of his stable? You want to sit there and talk about how Microsoft has betted all their money on Game Pass Ultimate, but you don't want to bring up the fact that Sony has invested money with games like Concord and Until Dawn Remake, and guess what? They all flopped. See, this is something that I'm having a hard time understanding from you fanboys. You people say that you buy these games for $60 to $70, but yet every time we hear about them, they flopping. Can you explain to me how Until Dawn Remake sold 28% worse than a game like Concord? Let me guess. People buy exclusive games on your PlayStation 5. At least that's what they want you people to believe. But we already know as to why Jim Ryan was on his knees on the FTC. See, it's just something that you PlayStation fanboys don't want to admit. You can keep talking about how you got the hardware sales, but you don't have the software to go with it.
And Sony never did. Sony always treated PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium as exactly that. It's just extra.
Is that what you actually think? Is that why Helldivers 2 was available on PC and yet you're paying for online and yet they're not? What is you talking about, bro? It sounds like you're really hurt. You want to sit there and act as if PS5 is primarily Sony's only device, when in reality they care more about PC gaming than they do you. That's why you're getting all these remasters, fool. So these PC gamers can catch up to the same games that you guys was doing on the PS4. And you want to sit there with the audacity and tell people this is all Microsoft, but yet Game Pass Ultimate advocates for new games coming to the service. You know, not games that you played last generation, or should I say PS3 titles that you people are still playing. Is this really the reason as to why you're picking up a PS5 Pro in the first place? You weren't even using backwards compatibility on your PS5, but yet I guess if you people are willing to pay for one, well, there goes your $10 upgrade.
It's an option. You know?
Just like it's an option to subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate. If you want to buy your games just like a big boy gamer, then go proceed to do that. Nobody's asking you to subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate, just like you're not obligated to subscribe to PlayStation Premium or Extra. Like what is said out of your own mouth. They're extra. If you choose to support them, well, that's on you. So I don't understand as to why you fools have a problem with Game Pass Ultimate when it advocates new games for you dudes to play. While Sony's out here throwing remakes upon remastered games, and yet you people, I can't even say you're eating them up because you people ain't even buying them. There's more fanboys on Twitter than the people that are actually out here buying PlayStation games. That is quite laughable.
It's not our primary vector for growth. It's not our bread and butter. It's important, yeah. I'm not going to say it's not important, but that I think is where Microsoft, when they, I mean, let's face it, man, like Microsoft dove in the deep end. They dove head first, and they were all in. Game Pass.
Just like Concord, even though they seen the writing on the wall. Even though it was nothing but a typical Overwatch clone and Sony had people working on that game for 8 years, and look what happened. There goes your $400 million. And now that I'm hearing that Until Dawn Remake had a budget of $250 million, and yet the game sold worse than a game before it. See, I really do think that a lot of you ponies are hurt, and this is why I chose the perfect theme song. If you guys couldn't recognize this, well then guess what? You're not a real gamer. I'm sorry. I had to put my glasses on for this video. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this new take. Because like I said, man, all this whole belligerent stuff that you guys like to see other people do, well, I'm just not feeling it. You know, we are gamers. We want to play games. You guys bash Game Pass Ultimate, but Game Pass Ultimate has everything to do with video games. If you want to buy your games, then go proceed to do that. You can get mad that Xbox gamers have the value of being able to play games day and date by only paying $20 to their subscription service. You are buying games on top of paying in most cases, $60, $70, which happens to be third party, $60, $70 for games that ain't even exclusive to your platform. This is the most embarrassing thing going on here with Sony.
Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass. And the fact that they're still committed to it now goes to show how it really is like, yeah, guys, we really need this to work. You know what I mean?
Well, did you ever think that the reason why Microsoft keeps doing it because it is working? Why do you think Sony decided to shut Concord 2 weeks after the game's release? Because it didn't work. Why would a company continue to do something if it didn't work? You know, you can't fix something that's already broken. And I can already clearly tell that this dude, which happens to be an Xbox refugee, is a broken man. This dude is in shambles. This dude's walking around with unbranded hats, bro. Where you picking these up? At Big Co from San Andreas? Unbranded hats? I mean, you could at least have MBG on it. What is up with this? Where are you getting these unbranded hats from? I'm sorry, guys. I'm breaking character, but it's getting crazy. You know, like, couldn't you get like an insignia on the top of it? Or maybe you like to show that you don't represent anything.
We really need this to work because we went all in. We went full Game Pass. Sony probably be sitting there talking to Microsoft, like Jim Ryan, Sergeant Jim Osiris Ryan, talking to Phil, be like,
you say this with such a smug look on your face, not understanding that Until Dawn Remake did far worse than Concord. You people are throwing this under the rug. Like I said, the L's continue on. Nothing has changed. No matter how many ways that you try to spin the narrative and try to point the finger at Microsoft, we already know who's the one doing the best right now. You can have your little 65 million hardware soldiers, if that's what you want to call them. But guess what? Tell me when half your exclusives can break past 1,000. Until Dawn Remake sold worse than Concord, and that probably doesn't even include the free review copies. That's all PlayStation do, is flop. The PlayStation Flop 5 is what that console is named.
Never go full Game Pass. You went full Game Pass. Never go full Game Pass. And Microsoft didn't
Never go full pony. Because when you go full pony, you realize that it's only Sony only. But even then, that's not even true either. Because, I mean, your games are selling far worse than they have ever imagined. I never seen a AAA game, especially from Sony themselves, sell worse than 1,000. You have to ask yourself, what is really going on here? Until Dawn Remake doing just as bad, even though the game was already available. This has to be by far one of the worst remakes or remasters ever dropped in years. It also goes to show you that the PlayStation community really don't value the games like they claim. But instead, they would rather port beg for Xbox games to come to their platform because, to be honest with you, that's really what they want to play. That's why you guys were so angry about Bethesda and Activision. And now that you know that you're getting some of their titles, it makes you feel a little happy. But yet, you know, you got something to really... I'm sorry, I can't even think anymore. My brain's hurting just listening to you.
Understand, man. They're like, I went full Game Pass? Like, yeah.
No, you went full Andy Milonakis. Now I remember what I want to say. Now I remember what I wanted to say. You got pancakes that sit on your lap. You don't tell me what to do. When life give you lemons, you make beef stew. Like, that's what you guys are, man. Y'all ain't nothing but a bunch of Andy Milonakises, man. Out here saying a bunch of nonsense. This is all you people doing. I'm sorry, I can't even keep character no more, man. You know? Like, this is supposed to be a serious topic. I'm out here drinking my coffee, and yet we're still talking about this, dude. You people really need to grow up, man. You need to go somewhere with this console fanboy stuff and just go dig yourself a hole, because it's over. You're done. Go sit down in the graveyard like the rest of those PlayStation exclusive games that are no longer here no more.
That's why it's so interesting when you look back in 2021 and 2022. Sony, they were under pressure, man. Like, people were like, are you going to do it, Sony? You going to do it? You're going to start putting your games day one? You're going to start telling people not to buy games and really...
And what has Sony done? Helldivers 2, if that wasn't enough prime example for you, dropped day and date on the PC. You claim that PlayStation cares more about the PlayStation owner, but then why are you paying to play that game online while PC gamers play it for free? See, there's just a lot of inconsistencies and hypocrisies with the way you PlayStation ponies want to talk and these little barn bargains that you got going on. Because to be honest with you, you people ain't nothing but talking but stupidity.
And they were like, no, we're not. And they got heat for it. People were like, I hate you, Sony. Why do you make me buy your games? Why do you make me pay full price? But I will tell you this. I have witnessed the damage that the Game Pass model can do to the brand, like in its bottom line.
I like how he says it's the brand, but he doesn't even take the time to explain it to you fools. Wow. But I definitely know he enjoyed that $9 super chat that he got for absolutely explaining nothing.
I said the gamer, but I'm like, well, it doesn't really damage the gamer necessarily.
When was the last time you even played a game? Did you pick up Concord? Did you pick up Until Dawn Remake? Or is the only thing you fanboys do is talk about Xbox?
It can have deleterious effects on the brand, the money the brand makes, and the perception. I have a friend.
It seems like the perception of Concord didn't help that game do well, and neither did the perception of Until Dawn. You got to understand, guys, that these games were all flops. Stop pointing the finger at Microsoft. All the problems are going on with Sony right in front of you guys, and you guys just choose to keep avoiding it.
I've referenced them before where they don't buy games anymore, and it's interesting because they used to buy games. They actually used to be on PlayStation, and they used to buy games. But they went all in with Game Pass and Xbox, and ever since then, they don't buy games.
Now, how is that a bad thing? The fact that they're able to get the incredible value of playing the same games that they normally would have bought through Game Pass Ultimate is even more of a reason as to why the Xbox is better than your PlayStation 5 console. You people don't even want to buy $60, $70 remasters and remakes. And neither would I. But let's really come to some common ground here, people. You ponies are in a lot of stress right now. I can see it. I mean, you probably had a symbol on your hat, but it just probably got washed off. It's probably like you probably got a big old S on the side of your head like Bobbity did a mind control on you, like Majin Vegeta. Okay, Sony controls you. Should I say an M? Because you talk more about Microsoft than you do Sony anyways.
They refuse to ever buy games. And it's all just about like whatever shows up on Game Pass. And if it's not on Game Pass, you'll just wait and see if it eventually does show up on Game Pass.
Just like you guys are waiting for Microsoft to put their games on your platform. That's so funny that a pony wants to talk about waiting, when all you guys doing is waiting for Xbox games to inevitably drop on your platform. What a disgrace of Sony.
And it was actually to a point where, and this is why I tried to warn people that, like, you think Microsoft isn't going to start trying to squeeze money from their customers?
Just like Sony is squeezing money out of you dummies with the PS5 Pro and all these remasters and remakes. Why do you even think Horizon Zero Dawn exists, you simpleton? It exists solely to rob you guys out of the measly $10 that you have. Matter of fact, they even increased the value of the PS4 version to make it even more expensive to add up to the one that you get on PS5. And you want to sit there and talk about how Microsoft is squeezing their audience out of money. But there's one major difference, though. These are new games. These are not remasters and remakes.
Like, they need money, too, I mean, they're rich. They're unbelievably rich, but they're a business. They're going to need to make money. Quarterly. It got to a point where this friend of mine was like, does anybody know if there's still a workaround to use your Microsoft rewards points to get a free month of Game Pass? And I guess this is how, or I don't know if it was like reward points, but also like the $1. You remember there was always you can pay $1, you make a new account, you pay $1.
Now the real question is this: what is up with you ponies? You guys claim that you have so much money, but then you out here renewing memberships on Xbox for $1 a month. Like, are you serious? And now that they changed it, Now you guys are angry. I mean, you guys should be more than happy enough that you've suckered Microsoft out of all that money, and guess what? Microsoft is still filthy rich. Seems like nothing changed, did it?
And you can get Game Pass for a month for $1 or something. And Microsoft cracked down on all of this, and they were like, no more. They were like, no more, because they realized, like, this is what people are doing. Like, they don't want to give you their money because you're giving them the option. You're giving them and that's, I get it. I'm not against that. It's like, if you can save money and gain access, go for it. But I always just thought this was strange from Microsoft's perspective, that they were always pushing for this, like, best deal in gaming, best value in gaming, sign up for $1. And I'm like, bro, you're communicating a message to people that you don't need to pay $70 for games anymore.
And that's actually what Microsoft wants. And to be honest with you, the only reason as to why Sony decides to do it, because let's just be honest, if there's a reason to stay subscribed to Microsoft year in and year out. Now with PlayStation, if they did day and day with their games, I would just wait until the end of the year for all the exclusive games to drop, subscribe at that 1 month, beat all the games, and then there you go, unsubscribe. Because let's be honest, a lot of your games are single player. And if I want to go back and replay them, well, guess what? I'll go back and pay another $20 a month. That's the reason why. You games just don't have that type of replay value that Xbox games have. Sorry to break it to you ponies. These Xbox games are highly replayable, and they're the main reason as to why people still continue to stay subscribed to play them.
You just need to pay $1. You think that's not going to come and bite you in the ass at some point? I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, it really didn't help Sony by putting $400 million in Concord, and that failed. It didn't help Sony that they put $250 million in Until Dawn Remake, and that failed. Matter of fact, it even did worse than Concord.
And the reason why it's going to come and bite you in the ass is because eventually you're going to have no choice but to reveal the truth to people.
Well, the truth is, I'm sick and tired of this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, man, much shout out to Resident Evil Code Veronica. You know, they didn't sponsor this video, but just for me to say it, yes, they did. I sponsored my own video. How about that? Go pick up the game, Resident Evil Code Veronica. Pick it up on any platform that you got your hands of having. Just go pick it up. It's a great game. Resident Evil Code Veronica, PS2, whatever, Dreamcast. Just play the game everywhere, because that's what games do. This video is sponsored by Games.